Hello, everybody. As you can see, the from the title of this particular chapter, episode, whatever you want to call it, today I'm going to be talking about Patricia Mills. Um, I'm going to do something a little different today because of the nature of today. So I'm going to read a statement. It was the statement that I was supposed to read in court that I was never given the opportunity to read. That way I can get everything out that I want to get out and be able to show the necessary documents that I need to show and do it as swiftly as possible and go ahead and get off um, the air. Um, I will try to upload a lot of some of the stuff onto Facebook. A lot of the content I will be uploading to my YouTube page. Um, a little more detailed information will be on the YouTube page, and a couple of resources and stuff like that. So stay tuned. I will drop the link to my YouTube page as soon as I get everything uploaded. With that being said, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna read my little note. This is all of my evidence against Patricia. So you'll be seeing me refer to all of this as I'm reading. Now this is scene 3 of all of these egregious acts to making me defend my character and my nature for me and my daughter. It was my intention to prove with irrefutable evidence that the protective order that Patricia Mills filed against my daughter and I was a premeditated and planned attempt to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks in a pathetic method to bully and control. The first thing I want to point out with regards to her application, one of her applications was supposed to be for me and the other one was supposed to be for my daughter. But Patricia filed both the exact same identical papers, word for word, everything. Now, if you notice, with regards to one of the second document I showed you, you will clearly see that my daughter's name was written in. You can clearly see it's a different handwriting, two different distinct handwritings. And if you evaluate the documents, you'll see that she didn't even take the time to create two different applications. Both of there's no difference between the two applications other than my daughter's name was written in. Now, everything else was exactly two identical fraudulent applicants or applications filed against me. Excuse me. The page I just showed, it states on behalf of Nevaeh Crawford. And it's clearly written in a clear and present difference in handwriting. Now, if you notice anything else that I showed you guys during the conversation with Latrina, you will see that that difference in handwriting is that of Latrina Jones. You'll further see that the only time my daughter's name is spelled correctly on any of these documents that were in Patricia's handwriting, her name was spelled incorrectly. Her name was spelled Niva. And for those of you who know my daughter, you will know that's not how I spell her name. Um, I'll upload that document or I'll show it to you in just a minute because it's going to reference another part. Now, on line item 2, Patricia's application states that I violated a protective order that was active at the time of the violation. Patricia knows that this statement is false. The very thing that she checked for me is, in fact, the very thing that she is guilty of. Attached to this video, I'm going to upload the police report and the emergency protective order that was filed, that the police reported against her and her brother Lawrence, to whom both were arrested that day and charged. They were charged with assault against a family member with bodily injury. I'm going to discuss that in one of the last videos that talks about the court's role, the judge's role, their attorney's role in this whole situation. Now, on that same page, page 2 of her application, she didn't even bother to check neither of the boxes for either that the protective order that she so say claimed was against me. She didn't even check the box or supply the protective order as she stated. And the reason why she wasn't able to check either one of those boxes is because the actual protective order that she stated didn't exist. And if that was the case, and at that time I challenged her to present that statement or that protective order that she so say said was against me, she wasn't able to do that. Now, on line 8E of her application, Patricia stated, respondent has threatened to kill every family member, burn the family house down, financially destroy the entire family, destroy everything on the property. So let's address each one of these pathetic, laughable lies that she's shown. And then at the end of me reading my statement, I'm going to show you all the documents that we're speaking of. Ms. Mills states about me threatening to kill every family member. Now, if this statement was true, I would assume she would have attached police reports to confirm said statement. I take this time to challenge her or any of the family members to stand before the judge, before the courts, and before social media and declare under penalty of perjury and produce the said documents of the substantiated allegation. Like her daughter, Patricia Mills manipulates and omits statements to justify her own criminal actions. On June the 8th, just to go give y'all a little extra information, it was probably around or about June the 8th, one of Patricia Mills' sisters ended up in the hospital for surgery. As a result of that, Patricia Mills and I were in the waiting room waiting for the surgery to be over. Okay? During that time, we sat in the waiting room and we discussed all the toxicity taking place on the property and our dissatisfaction for all the traffic her addict brother was bringing onto the property. She stated that she would take her tractor and tear the house down. I stated that the very memory of my grandmother's house had been tarnished. And no, she didn't need to tear it down. It needed to be burnt to the ground. I stand by that statement. Everything that was good and pure and wholesome and just a light to this world that my grandmother made that house be, Patricia Mills and her siblings have tarnished it. They have tarnished it. I stand by that statement. And that is not a threat. I find it hard to believe that since my grandmother passed away, those siblings have been fighting over land and property and money, which had been in this family for over 100 years. Their true colors came out when my grandmother passed away. For years, Patricia was in a feud with all of her siblings because it was proven she had stolen her siblings' land from them and wouldn't give it back. These feuds led to Patricia Mills throwing a water bottle hitting her sister Daisy Lane in the face, and a fight almost pursued. Yeah, they are doing that level of stupid. She stated that I financially destroyed the entire family. What she left out was that her and her siblings began to do a great amount of building on the properties in the house so that they can, get more money. Rent houses, tiny houses, extra buildings. That's what they did. But they did this building on this property in this house haphazardly in the dark of night with no city permits whatsoever. They proceeded in their midst of bullying and harassing and exploiting and intimidating me. They decided to not only build these buildings, but to attach an additional breaker box onto the breaker box attached to the home that I lived in, essentially attaching the electricity for all of these other properties onto my electricity. This was done by Joyce Alexander with the help of Daisy Lane. I was not asked if they can attach this building to my electricity. I did not have an option in it, and they did not, at the time of that event, own that property. They should not have been allowed to do it. My electricity bills began to skyrocket. And when I tried to contact them, I'm going to discuss something else. But basically, an individual went into my electricity account, pretended to be me, put my account on balance billing so it could be, I guess, lower or whatever the case is. But it still exceeded $500. And when they got upset with me because I wouldn't play by their rules, this same individual, with the help of her other individual, decided to go into my account yet again, pretend to be me, take me off of balance billing. Now I was subject to all of their bills. And once you get taken off, they added all that additional amount onto my final bill. Hold that thought. Remember that for tomorrow when I go into Joyce Alexander's. So I'm going to show y'all the police report for the theft of electricity as well. She further states I destroyed everything on the property with no irrefutable proof of that statement. The house had multiple things that happened to which were reported to all 7 siblings, and they did nothing to fix any of it. If I was a tenant as they stated that I was, according to tenant resident law and renting, it's the owner's job to fix things that are in or wrong with the house. This is why they were able to straddle the fence. When it was time for them to fix stuff in the house, I happened to be a family member who was staying in the house paying their fair share of the bills. But when it benefited them, I was a renter. They straddled the fence. The property sustained damages to it due to 2 declared national disasters, to which FEMA came out and inspected the house and declared the house uninhabitable. Additionally, Patricia allows her dogs to run amok, pooping everywhere, shredding up everything that they can get in their mouth. Attached to this And I'm now going to share the video so you can see it for you guys itself. See if I can get it to show. I can't find my share thing. Hold on. Give me just a second. I'm going to load it back up. If I can't get it to load on here, I'll attach it separately. Now, on this video, as well as the 2 pictures that I have showing that her dogs just run amok whenever they feel like it. This just shows that the house was tagged. This shows the extra breaker box. This shows the house is tagged. There's I don't know if you can see the date. But they couldn't remove that until all the damages and all of the unpermitted building was documented and resolved. This statement shows the fact that at the time of all of this was happening, nobody owned the property but Patricia Mills. This was the date of the inspection. As you can see, it fell into the same category as the time that Burl and the other storm took place. As you can see right here, this is from FEMA. This is a letter from FEMA. It states, I'm covering up my new address and stuff. See how it states? FEMA housing inspector noted your home is not safe to live in. It is not safe to live in. Let me keep going. Now, during this time, as the inspector was coming out, even though there was friction between myself and the other individuals, I still made constant contact. At the time, we were living in a hotel, like most other people were living in a hotel, while we were without oxygen because of all my medical equipment. I needed to have oxygen to sustain life. So we were living in a hotel. During that time, I would come to the house every day or every other day and do a little bit of cleaning as long as I could stand the heat. But I was also in contact with Daisy Lane, letting her know that contractors and the cleaning crew that I had hired was trying to make arrangements to come and clean the house and, you know, fix the stuff, and he was aware that, you know, FEMA would be willing to pay and all of this kind of stuff. They made several phone calls to her, several text messages were sent to her, and I will be showing that as well. But at that time, they're blaming me for a house or destroying the house and all of this, that, and the other, but the house had just went through 2 storms and everybody had faced damages during that time. At that point, I was willing to get the house cleaned and fixed and needed to make arrangements with them because I am not the owner of the house. This is all it is to it. The applicant further asked the court to require the respondent to do the following: not harm 3 dogs to whom were strays before she staked claim in them and allowed them to start running them up. The three dogs at the time that we had were all house dogs. They're not outside dogs. And they do not run amok all day long. She also asked the court to make me leave and never come back. When the truth of the matter is, I had a conversation with Patricia directly stating I could have been gone if everyone would just stop. I'm not gonna say that. Would stop messing with me. That's not the word I said, but would stop messing with me and let me just get my stuff done. I told her then that once I drive away, I would not look back and I never would come back. And I did that. I stand by it. Her response to that was something to the effect of, well, that's unfortunate, or and she started mentioning her favorite phrase, a new. We're in the middle of a new. This statement wasn't needed. It was already applied and confirmed. I was already packing. And let's discuss that. You know, this family talked about we family, we all we got, we all we got. For those of you who remember, I was living in Arizona and I was living in El Paso. And I was happy. When we were in El Paso, a situation happened with my mother at one of her other houses. And her and Daisy Lane decided to butter me up, for lack of a better word, so I can come back and get this house. It wasn't because they wanted to help me. Basically, it was because my mama wanted to show the other person who was living there that left the house a mess with black mold going up the ceilings. She wanted to show once she got the house repaired and I was staying there, she wanted to stick it to the person that was there before. Crazy, huh? Now, the understanding was, and I advised them that I would not come back unless the house was in my name. Daisy Lane just let me handle it, Niecy. It's going to get done. I'm going to make sure you get everything that you need. You just got to be patient. Okay. You're right. But in addition to that, once the previous person that was living in the house moved out and left all of that crap in there that they did not want, this same Joyce Alexander screamed, we're family. We all we got. You need to come down and help. And you need to come and help us get everything cleaned. And we're going to get this, to which I did. And ended up going back to El Paso, laid on my back, sick as a dog, for 5 weeks. Because of the level of nastiness and mold that I was subjected to. But when it came to me, and it was time for me to move, I didn't have black mold up the walls. I was cleaning my own house as I packed. Nobody came to help me. If they wanted me out so bad, what happened to we family? We all we got. We need to help each other. It applies for everybody but me. Now, if they had just left me alone, I would have been gone. But no, they couldn't just let it go. They couldn't just let me move and do things the right way. They had to show me. Oh, you don't want to fall in line? We're going to show you. That's what they did. And that's what bullies do. Now, in line 9 of Patricia's application, she stated, respondent refuses to leave the property although eviction papers have been filed. Keep in mind that this assault took place November the 11th. Now, what Miss Mills fails to disclose was that all members, not me, even the minors, were provided by certified mail a 3-day notice to vacate on 9/11. This was done out of retaliation for the unlawful restraint that was filed against her sisters, Joyce Alexander and Daisy Lane. She and her siblings then proceeded to exploit, torment, bully, and harass me and my family, and each time tried to hide and justify that an eviction was in process. This is what I received by certified mail. I'm going to just put this up here like this, and y'all tell me what's wrong with it. This is what I received. Now, I was served this after assault and another letter which appears to be fake. Now, this fake 3-day notice to vacate on November the 11th. That's what I just showed y'all. But in fact, the assailants didn't wait the full 3 days to even file the execution of the eviction. This is what Joyce Alexander filed in court. This is exactly how it was filed. This is the date it was filed. Just look at that again. Date of the 3-day notice. Date of the actual filing of this alleged eviction. This was the actual citation I received. This is the date. They did this as a premeditated and planned action by Miss Mills, her siblings, and her daughter to simultaneously file these evictions and all of these protective orders to cover up their illegal activity. I'm going to further show you both. I showed you the notice to vacate. Here is the second notice that I received. Now keep in mind, at the time of this situation, at the time of the event on November the 8th, you could clearly hear Joyce Alexander stating, "False claim, sir. Eviction is in process. Eviction is in process. False claim." As you have just seen, there was no eviction in process. A 3-day note to vacate is not an eviction in process. A 3-day note to vacate is simply a 3-day note to vacate. So again, I called the lawyer that's on this paperwork, sent in the evidence, let them know I was ready to fight. Now, if you sent a 3-day note to vacate on November the 11th, as you can see, it says payment of rent or some I don't know what this one said. Maybe this is the other one. But here you go. Once she realized that what she was doing was against the law, she decided to send me another notice to vacate premises. And this one, I'm going to just put it up here and I'm going to let y'all decide. Y'all tell me what's wrong with this. And that's the date. Now, how can you file a 3-day note to vacate on the 11th, an additional 3-day note to vacate by somebody else with no address, no phone number, no nothing on it on November the date, on November the 12th, in addition to filing the actual eviction on November the 12th? But if you looked at the first 3-day note to vacate, it's dated 9/11. And you mean to tell me you waited all the way till November the 12th to decide you want to file an eviction, and the only common denominator in that situation is that you and your siblings attacked me and my daughter on the 8th. Now, that second notice that I showed you with no address on it, it said that it was received by certified mail, but in fact, the date that that particular letter was, that I received it, it was taped to my door. It was taped to the outside of my door by some mysterious person. But here's the thing. At the time that that happened, the CPS worker was there interviewing my daughter. When she drove up, she had to take pictures of the house. That letter wasn't there. By the time she left, that letter was taped to my door. Even the CPS woman stated, you can believe this if you want to, but this is fake. She took a picture of it and put it in the file. This is further proof of fraud, making fraudulent statements, vicious statements, and lies. In line item 2, Patricia Mills declared, my sister was attacked by her daughter, Deshandra Cooper, and Cooper's daughter, Niva, N-I-V-A. She further stated, when I helped my sister, the 15-year-old punched, gouged my eye, choked me, and held my nose closed. There were more obscenities stated, but I ain't even going to continue to breathe life into that mess. What Patricia failed to include was that my daughter and I were in our home when her and her siblings entered without our permission in an attempt to harass, bully, and barricade me and my daughter in a house. Patricia does not live in the home, and although she is the true owner of the house, if I was a renter, as they stated, even according to rental agreements, the owner, landlord, whatever, has to give me notice before they show up at the house. This is another example on how they straddle the fence. 1 minute I'm a family member, 1 minute I'm a renter. Make up your mind. In addition to that, I do want to let you guys know I have never had a lease. Not from Patricia, who was the owner, or from Daisy or Joyce or any of the other 7. Again, examples of how they were able to manipulate the situation, and I was a renter when it benefited them, and I was a family member when it benefited them. Keep in mind, because of my disabilities, the electricity, I am on life-sustaining equipment, so if there is ever an outage, I am part of the priority that gets turned on first. Thus was the reason why they wanted the electricity to be in my name, because they were going to be able to reap the benefits. And then when they decided they wasn't going to pay anything, I end up having to foot all the bills. I did show all of those bills yesterday in the previous video, and so you can go back and look at those. Now, Patricia Mills, as I stated, did not live in that house, nor did Joyce Alexander or Lawrence Darby. Patricia's real house sat next door to the house that I resided in. She failed to mention that I called the police as you heard on the video, as soon as they entered, and my daughter and I began videoing all activity. She and her siblings were do all the activity that her and her siblings were doing up until the police arrived or I got attacked, which I did, and you saw on the video. It was then that she and her siblings viciously attacked my daughter and I, tackling me to the ground, choking, punching, hitting my daughter in her head, stabbing me in the shoulder with a crowbar, as you saw on the picture, and going as far as to bite my minor child in the middle of her forehead and me on my arm while laughing and stating, "That is why I have AIDS and now you do too." This was the same thing that she stated in court. And the reason why? Because she knew that was the exact thing that she had done. There were charges made. She went to jail. They had to bond out. She states that she was hit with a crowbar, and when the judge asked her where, she said, "On my knuckle." And it caused her so much pain. The truth of the matter is, her and her siblings entered our home, branding a crowbar, savagely attacked us. That's the truth. It clearly states in Patricia's own handwriting, in line 2F, that I was arrested, meaning she was arrested. I showed you guys yesterday the pictures of the bite marks that we still have to this day. To this day. I've also attached the doctor's statements. I showed those yesterday that clearly showed our discharge papers and the injuries that we sustained the very day of the accident, of this incident. Now, if there's anything different that she can collaborate and show and prove that my daughter and I were arrested for this particular incident, I challenge her and anybody else involved to produce that information that me and my daughter were arrested or we went to jail. On page 12 of Ms. Mills's application, line 3, she states that I threatened to burn down the house, kill the entire family, damage to her vehicles and her equipment on the property. I've already addressed the first two lines, and I'm not going to waste my time wasting it again, referring to it again. With regards to the last two lines, in the video that I'm going to show you guys about her dog, what's also in the video is this alleged vehicle that I so say damaged. When you look at the vehicle and you are able to see, there's nothing wrong with that vehicle. I never touched her vehicle and I only rode in her vehicle once. So that was further a lie. If what she stated about me messing with her property and her vehicle and her equipment, if it is true, again, I challenge anybody to get on here or in court and show proof that we went to jail, we were fined, we were penalized, we were arrested for doing this. I would think if somebody did exactly what Patricia Mills is stating that I did, if it was true, some kind of police report would have been filed. And if anybody knows Patricia, she gonna make it a point to let her insurance know, because she likes getting free money. I challenge you to bring anything out showing that you have any kind of police documentation showing that I damaged your property. Additionally, in line 3A through 3D, Ms. Mills states a crowbar was used and she suffered injuries similar to the injuries suffered in this application. In her haste to lie, Ms. Mills failed to read the answer correctly. Ms. Mills falsely restated the same allegations in an attempt to try to establish a pattern of bad behavior against me. In line item 4 on the same declaration, she answered yes to the question, has the respondent ever been convicted of family violence? Under her comment, Patricia Mills states Harris County don't know charges. Patricia Mills stated she doesn't know the charges because no such charges exist. This is just another attempt to stand before the court under penalty and perjury and lie and declare false allegations. And again, if she could show proof that I had committed family violence in any other way, produce the police report. It wasn't produced. On page 13, line item 8C, Patricia Mills states, again, lies about me threatening the family and damaging the property to which I have already proven otherwise, and again will not continue to breathe life into. She further lies by stating, I filed false police reports, allow my 15-year-old daughter to behave recklessly, lie, commit violence, and be disrespectful. Let's address these statements. Unless Patricia Mills has a psychological degree and is willing to stand before the court and social media with said degree, she should know the difference between an expert finding and a personal opinion. My daughter is a teenager. Being a teenager in today's troubling times, I don't put anything past my daughter, especially when I'm not around. My daughter is like me, and I'm not boasting or bragging because it is a flaw. She wears her heart on her sleeve, and she has a mouth that sometimes she cannot control. I'm different. I can control mine, so I choose to say what I say. Now, whereas I will admit my daughter sometimes does things that are unbecoming of a young lady, she has a village. She has both of her parents in her life. She has her siblings in her life. And she has her village. She had her village from our church. And with this village, the same church now to which Patricia and her daughter Latrina Jones lied and had us banned from. She had a church counseling family, and between her dad, myself, her siblings, and her church family, when she needed to be reined in, she was reined in. Now, if she committed true acts of violence, don't you think we would have been arrested? Don't you think some kind of files would be charged? I challenge Ms. Mills to produce a police record stating that we were arrested and tried under her said allegations. She further states that I allow my daughter to be disrespectful. I allow my daughter to match any energy she is being given. Respect is given when respect is received. I allow my daughter to voice her opinion within reason and to stand up for herself when she is being mistreated. I am not sorry for that. I'm okay with the way I raised my daughter. The truth is, Patricia Mills and her siblings, once again, came into our home and violated a 15-year-old child in an effort to bully. She assaulted my daughter and I, causing my daughter to live in fear and sleep with a knife and pepper spray under her pillow for fear of somebody coming to hurt her again. And this has been documented by CPS. Patricia chose to put herself in matters that did not pertain to her for a home she should not have had ownership in, nor does she live in. She knowingly and willfully participated in a savage attack of my daughter and I. She then became an active member of a gang of criminals that got together to premeditate and plan an elaborate scheme to cover up their actions and cause damage to the very character of my daughter and I, solely in order for her to be able to go on this cruise unchecked by her criminality and prevent my daughter and I from going on this cruise, to go on our cruise. She would have had stronger charges brought against her and her siblings. She should have had a bond revoked and not be allowed to go on the cruise or the vacation. She should have been required to pay restitution for her actions. In an effort to be transparent, I will admit one thing, or better yet, I admit two. Number one, yes, my daughter and I did call her a bitch. My daughter was counseled by all of her village about staying in a child's place and not doing wrong for wrong. However, I am a grown ass woman. I stand by my statement. I'll stand right here, right now, as I did in court, and I admitted that I called her and her daughter a bitch, and I have no remorse or regret at all for calling her that. It may not be morally nice to say, it may not be Christian to say, but it's not a crime. Patricia Mills did help, and number two, Patricia Mills did help her sister, as she stated. She helped her sister in committing a crime. She then aided and abetted these same individuals in trying to cover it up. Sad thing is, the very sister that she tried to help didn't get arrested. So how did that help and work out for you? It's not over. I have filed the appeal. I will have my day in court. But Patricia and her brother got arrested. They were charged. They should have stood trial and have a criminal history, but the judicial system failed to protect and serve my daughter and I. And they had that same crooked lawyer that Trina has in her back pocket and on speed dial to come in for them and allow them to lie. They lied. All charges were dismissed, giving them all the green light to continue to do their criminality. There is no equal justice under the law. It's only equal justice for those who can pay for it and are willing to pay for it. She knows. Now let me let you know something about her. Patricia is retired from the Houston Police Department. She actually was the administrative assistant for the chief of police, Chief Bradford. And I said that to say this. She knows the law. And she knows that she was violating the law and the consequences of violating the law. And she did it anyway. Because her and her siblings feel emboldened. Since her release from bond, it was documented proof that she violated the stipulations of her bond by coming back to the property with her sisters, Joyce Alexander and Hazel Darby. Along with this younger female in a bonnet with some glasses on. I guess they brought her so if something popped off, she would be able to attack Nevaeh again. I don't know what the nature of that was. But this time when they came, not only did they brand the things that they branded before, then they brought chain cutters, lock cutters. They came armed with lock cutters. The girl that was the youngest, she had her hair tied all up and she had her eyes covered like we don't know what that's about. As soon as Nevaeh saw her, she was like, Mama, she coming to fight me. Because that's what teenagers do. They make sure that they can't get their hair pulled and they can't get their eyes messed with. That's why they do that. But we were the problem. As you can see, this is what Patricia Mills. Now let's just discuss some stuff, okay? Just because it came up. Patricia Mills stated that, all of the stuff that was going on, they were here, let me show y'all this now. This is my daughter's. As you can see, assault. That was my daughter's. And you saw the date. This one was mine. And that's the date. The actual date of the incident. These are Patricia's dogs actually entering into our house. As you can see from the boxes, I was actually packing. Her dogs come in and chew on the boxes. Run amok. These are the cards for the unlawful restraint. You see the date. Harassment, you see the dates. This is a statement from my utility company with regards to the breaker box. Let me do this because I don't want my information on here. Broke it. Okay, so this is a letter, and it says, this talks about how the field agent came out to the house. This is the date that they came out, and they realized that 3 additional units were tied to the customer's breaker box after the meter. It's a significant thing about that, after the meter, and this was something that they knew. Okay, if they had did the breaker box above the meter, then they would have been charged. But because they did it after the meter, because they actually did it after the meter, Reliant couldn't get involved. Yeah, believe it or not, honestly. So y'all, other people who have houses and stuff, when they say I caused damage from the electricity, I was advised by Reliant to put a lock on my breaker boxes so they can no longer get to my electricity. But because they put the box right here instead of putting it above the breaker, Reliant couldn't go in and press charges against them. Second thing, Patricia Mills in her statement says that she shares the property with her other siblings. That's not a true statement. I will show you. Patricia supplied a special warranty deed in their evidence. But what she failed to realize, and I will be showing y'all both of them, she filed a special warranty deed, but she also filed another one, which was a ladybird deed. You will soon see. I'm going to just post them both and point out some key things for y'all. And I'm going to see if y'all see what's wrong with those pictures. Patricia did not share anything with her siblings. The property belonged to Patricia. Therefore, Joyce Alexander and Lawrence Darby had no right, if I was a tenant renting, to come into my castle and assault a 15-year-old child. And I had every right to defend my home, my property, and my child. But I'm being penalized. So, yeah. In this trust right here, well, I'm going to pull up both of them side by side so y'all can see, and I'll point out everything to y'all. But this is hers. This is indeed hers. Now, do you see any other people on here? I don't see Joyce Alexander. I don't see Daisy Lane. I don't see Lawrence Darby. Yeah. So that's Patricia Mills. That's Patricia Mills. Just to answer a couple of questions. If you notice here, this was the first day that I went and filed protective orders against them. All of them. I was sitting in the office. This is the date. Can you see it? There you go. This is the date. You can clearly see this was before the assault took place. Second thing. Yes, I did notify. This was a question that I was asked. Yes, I did notify all 7 of the siblings as to what was going on the property. I sent videos. I sent long descriptive text messages to all 7 of them. So yes, they knew. They knew. They also knew about the electricity and what was going on with the electricity. This is the date. This is a FYI. This is me telling them. I shouldn't have to ask for my mail. Telling them the bill. letting them know it's a criminal issue that you're doing. Did anybody say anything? Nope. Nobody said nothing. Nobody said nothing to them doing this. Family members, the matriarch of the family, sat complacent while all of this was being done. But you know what? I'm not going to stop. As I have been saying before, and I'm going to say again, I did this because there was no equal justice under the law. Only for those who can pay for it. And since there was no equal justice for myself and for my daughter in the court of law, I'm going to expose the injustice in the court of social media. That's just it. Tomorrow, I will come on and speak about Lawrence Darby. I'm going to try to have my stuff in order a little bit better than what I have now. I'm a little slow today. This is a hard day for me. And I'll discuss that later on when I'm ready to talk about it. Anyway, thank you for your time. If you know anybody that is going through anything remotely, if they have gone through it, is going through it now, or you foresee them going through it in the future, please share my story. Please pray for me and my daughter. Please pray for this situation. I'm still here for a reason. They could have killed me. They tried to kill me. And they almost did kill me. What I did not tell you guys was when I was found on the bathroom floor of the hospital unconscious with bloody stool escaping my body, my daughter is the one that found me. Both times. And had to push the button. My daughter had to watch them resuscitate her mother. My daughter had to watch each time I got yet another unit of blood and the side effects I faced with regards to it. My daughter had to watch that. To say that my daughter is traumatized is an understatement. My daughter comes in my room at least 3 times a night just to make sure I'm okay. No 16-year-old should have to live like that. And no 60-plus-year-olds should have been able to get away with it. Again, there were cameras on the house that caught the entire incident. And the police was told the day of the event. But conveniently, by the time we got ready to go to court, there was no video. All of a sudden, the storm knocked out her cameras. I'm sure. When I know for a fact that they worked. Because she stated to me that's the one thing that she was going to make sure continued to work. Because her crackhead brother would bring any and everybody over to the house and she was worried about her equipment. So while she's in court lying about me doing something with her equipment, she should have been focusing on her brother. And that's the reason why she had the cameras around the house. In addition to her ex-husband, who was also a crackhead, was over there too. If we're going to tell the truth, let's tell the truth. So it is what it is. I can't figure out how to share this video, but trust and believe I'm going to go out and come back in on another one so that my screen can be shared so you can see all of the documents that I was stating that I had, and you guys can judge for yourselves. I know I said I wasn't going to be on here long, but I'm feeling some kind of way because today, I'm going to be honest, people who know me know that my children are my world. They mean everything to me. And because of this situation, I don't get to talk to two of my sons. This time last year, I was on a cruise with my son, celebrating his 18th birthday and his graduation. I made shirts. I gave out gifts. I planned scavenger hunts. I presented him with his diploma and his ring, class ring. People who know me know that there is only 2 special days that I even celebrate throughout the year. The rest of the year don't matter to me. That's my kids' birthdays and Valentine's Day. Because it always gave me an excuse to dote over my children and actually just love on them a little more and kiss on them a little more. And, you know, never in my wildest imagination would I have dreamed that a year later I would have no relationship with my son, my 18-year-old. This was the first year I was not able to do anything for my son. I can't even talk to my son. And I'm going to go into it further when I discuss stuff about my mom. But the one thing I can tell you, I wouldn't care if I never saw any of them again. They don't mean anything to me. My children do. And Joyce Alexander knew that. She knew the only way that she could hurt me was to take my children away from me. I don't portray to be a perfect parent. I don't get everything right. But people who know me know that I've always said I'm not above growing. I'm not above learning. I make mistakes too. But I can tell you this. I've been my son's greatest support, his loudest cheerleader, and the best public defender that anybody can have. I have fought for my child his whole life. And on this day, I risked our lives, both me and him, bringing him into this world. And I wouldn't trade it for a world. So if anybody sees my son or talk to my son, please let my son know. CJ, if you see this, I have loved you with my whole heart. I wish you the best today and every day. I pray over you and for you each and every day. I am so proud of the person that you have become. I don't fault you for this because I know you were manipulated. I forgive you, son. And I love you. And if I did anything to cause you harm, I apologize. Happy birthday, baby. I hope you enjoy your special day because you deserve it. I love you.